Welcome back to the channel, Football Family. Today, we're diving into a story that goes beyond football, a story of resilience, dreams, and the undeniable greatness of Africa on the global stage. For decades, the Ballon d'Or has been seen as the ultimate individual award in football. It is the crown jewel, reserved for the best of the best. But for many years, African footballers struggled to get the recognition they truly deserved. Despite their talent, the award often seemed out of reach. Yet, through perseverance, sweat, and unshakable determination, some African players have carved their names in Ballon d'Or history. They didn't just represent their clubs, they carried the hopes of an entire continent. In this video, we count down the top 5 Africans with the highest Ballon d'Or rankings, celebrating their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs. By the end of this video, you'll see why these 5 men didn't just play football, they rewrote history, they broke barriers, and they gave every young African dreamer a reason to believe. Let's begin our countdown. 5. Mohamed Salah. At number 5, we have the Egyptian king himself, Mohamed Salah. Born in Nagreg, a small village in Egypt where poverty was the norm, Salah's journey to the top was anything but easy. As a child, he would travel hours just to attend training, sometimes returning home past midnight. His parents supported him, even though football seemed like a risky dream. Fast forward years later, Salah didn't just make it to Europe, he conquered it. From Basel to Chelsea, then Roma, and finally Liverpool, Salah proved himself at every step. But it was at Liverpool where his legend truly exploded. His speed, his left foot, his relentless drive, Salah became one of the most feared forwards in the world. He broke records in the Premier League, won the Champions League, the Premier League title, the FA Cup, and more. But beyond trophies, Salah carried the pride of Egypt and the Arab world on his shoulders. In the Ballon d'Or rankings, Salah reached as high as 5th place in 2019 and again in 2022. While some argue he deserved to go even higher, these rankings alone were historic. No Egyptian had ever been that close. Salah represents something bigger than football. He shows that even from a small village with dusty pitches, you can rise to become one of the greatest on earth. He is proof that the African dream is alive and achievable. 4. Samuel Eto'o. Next up, at number 4, we have Samuel Eto'o, the lion from Cameroon. If there was ever a player who embodied hunger, ambition, and relentlessness, it was Eto'o. He was more than just a striker, he was a warrior on the pitch. Eto'o's journey began in Cameroon, where football was a way out of poverty. At just 16, he moved to Europe, joining Real Madrid. Though his start in Spain wasn't easy, he refused to give up. After spells at Mallorca, his big break came with Barcelona. At Barca, Eto'o formed one of the deadliest trios in history alongside Ronaldinho and later Lionel Messi. He scored in Champions League finals, won multiple La Liga titles, and was the heartbeat of the team. Then at Inter Milan under Jose Mourinho, Eto'o proved he wasn't just about goals, he was about sacrifice and winning. He played even as a makeshift winger or defender, helping Inter to a historic treble in 2010. In 2009, Eto'o reached 5th place in the Ballon d'Or rankings, a recognition of his dominance at the time. While many believe he deserved more, his place in the top 5 remains a monumental achievement for African football. Eto'o's story teaches us that greatness isn't given, it's earned. And for every young African striker dreaming big, Eto'o remains the perfect role model, a man who let his boots do the talking. 3. Didier Drogba. Coming in at number 3 is the king of Ivory Coast, Didier Drogba. Drogba's career is not just about goals, it's about leadership, power, and using football to change lives. He didn't come through an academy like most stars. In fact, Drogba was considered a late bloomer. He signed his first professional contract at 21, an age when many players are already established. But what he lacked in time, he made up for with sheer willpower. At Marseilles, his talent exploded, and soon Chelsea came calling. And at Chelsea, Drogba became a legend. He was the ultimate big game player, a striker who thrived under pressure. Whether it was FA Cup finals, Carling Cup finals, or the biggest of them all, the 2012 Champions League final, Drogba always delivered. Off the pitch, Drogba used his platform to bring peace to his war-torn country. After Ivory Coast qualified for the 2006 World Cup, Drogba knelt down and begged his nation to stop fighting. His influence was so powerful that a ceasefire followed. Few footballers can say they literally stopped a war. In the Ballon d'Or, Drogba achieved 4th place in 2007, the highest ever for an Ivorian. It wasn't just about personal glory. That ranking told every young African striker, you belong here, you are capable, and you can be the best. Number 2, Sadio Mane. At number 2, we celebrate Sadio Mane, the pride of Senegal. Mane's story is the definition of humble beginnings. Growing up in Bambali, a small village in Senegal, Mane didn't even have proper boots as a child. His family doubted football could be a career, but Mane's dream was bigger than fear. He ran away to Dakar to chase football, risking everything for a chance. Step by step, Mane climbed the ladder, from Metz in France to Salzburg in Austria, then Southampton in the Premier League, and finally Liverpool. At Liverpool, alongside Salah and Firmino, Mane was unstoppable. He won the Champions League, the Premier League, and countless personal honors. But Mane's greatness doesn't stop on the pitch. He is known for his humility and generosity. From building hospitals and schools in his village to providing food and financial support for his people, Mane has shown that success is not just about what you achieve, but about what you give back. In 2022, Mane achieved the Ballon d'Or runner-up spot, finishing second behind Karim Benzema. That is the highest finish for any African since George Weah. It was a moment of pride, not just for Senegal, but for the entire continent. Mane's story is a reminder that you can come from nothing and still touch the stars. Number 1, George Weah. Finally, at number 1, we have the one and only George Weah, the Lion of Liberia. Weah remains the only African to have ever won the Ballon d'Or, which he achieved in 1995. To this day, no other African has matched this feat. Born in Monrovia, Liberia, Weah's journey was from the streets of Africa to the grand stages of Europe. He started in Liberia's local leagues, then moved to Cameroon, before being discovered by Arsene Wenger, who took him to Monaco. From there, his career took off. At Paris Saint-Germain and later AC Milan, Weah was unstoppable. His combination of speed, skill, and strength made him one of the most complete strikers in football history. Who could forget his legendary solo goal for Milan, running the entire length of the pitch against Verona? But Weah's story doesn't end with football. After retirement, he turned to politics, eventually becoming the president of Liberia. From Ballon d'Or winner to head of state, no other footballer in history has achieved that. His 1995 Ballon d'Or win wasn't just personal glory. It was Africa's victory. It proved to the world that African players were not just good enough to play in Europe, they were good enough to be the very best. George Weah's life teaches us that with talent, humility, and persistence, nothing is impossible. He remains the ultimate African football inspiration. And there you have it, the top 5 Africans with the highest Ballon d'Or rankings. From Salah's humble village in Egypt, to Eto'o's relentless hunger, to Drogba's leadership, to Mane's humility, and finally to Weah's unmatched legacy, these men are more than footballers. They are symbols of hope. Every time they stepped on the pitch, they carried a continent. They inspired millions. And they showed us that the African dream is not a fantasy, it's a reality. So, the next time you hear someone doubt African talent, remind them of these names. Remind them of these stories. And most importantly, remind them that the journey from the dusty pitches of Africa to the glittering stage of the Ballon d'Or is not only possible, it has been done before, and it will be done again. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. And in the comments, tell us, who do you think will be the next African to challenge for the Ballon d'Or?